What's up, guys? Toogie here, back again, live on Twitch, of course, but for those of you watching on YouTube, I love you all the same. Don't worry, some people were concerned. I've been calling you out too much for not being here live when we record these. I still love you. I still love you. But anyway, this is the Manhattan Project, and now we are in a very interesting spot, where at the end of our first season, we've won the Stanley Cup. We have won the Stanley Cup. Our goal has been reached. Henrik Lundqvist is a Stanley Cup champion. The one thing we needed throughout the entirety of A Nation United was a Swedish goalie who could get the job done. And all we needed was to just play with the Rangers for one season. That's all we needed. The problem is, as we approach our first offseason, and, of course, we're preparing for the draft here in a moment, I have no idea what to do at all. That's the problem. I don't know who to go after in the draft because I'm not sure when Elias Anderson's going to go off the board. Of course, we have the 30th pick in this draft. It's, oh man, it's a tough situation to be in. It's a great situation to be in, though, of course. We did win the Stanley Cup. But as far as who we're getting rid of, do we get rid of Kreider? Do we get rid of Nash? I have no idea. I have no idea. So what I would say is don't expect me to make too many drastic changes. You have to remember, too, heading into the offseason, as we get a look at the lottery results, you have to remember, too, heading into free agency and the rest of the offseason, that there may still be some restricted free agents that haven't signed in real life, although now that I say this, by the time this episode goes up on YouTube, I'm sure Pasternak, Draisaitl, Bennett's from Calgary, somebody will sign to just ruin my day. But, yeah, don't expect too many drastic changes. I don't even know if I'll trade up in the draft. I might just settle with the 30th pick. But again, you've gotten a nice look at the draft lottery results. Calgary in first. Vancouver, fourth place again. Poor bastards. They just can't win. They just can't win. Now, as we get a look at the retired players list, again, I've mentioned this, I think there's a slight chance of Hank retiring. Now, typically, in the first year, no goalies retire whatsoever. But with my luck, it could happen. That's all I'm saying. I do expect Jágr to retire. We'll see if that's the case. Let's find out. And Jágr doesn't retire, but John Michael Liles does. Okay. Who the hell saw that coming? Jágr doesn't retire, but 36-year-old John Michael Liles does. Well, I mean, props to you. You go out as a champion. But now the question is goaltenders. Did Hank retire? My heart would break if he did, and he didn't. Okay, we're good. We're good. So even with my god-awful luck when it comes to player retirements, no goalies retired, as is typically the case. So we at least dodged that bullet. Shockingly, though, Jágr doesn't retire, which means we might keep him. Now, Chara retires, Andrei Markov, Michael Hanzus, Mark Streit. Of course, remember, Streit's a free agent because we started this like the day after, or the day before he signed with Montreal. So, you know, not too many major retirements, of course, aside from Chara, really. I mean, no disrespect to Markov or anything like that, but you get my point. C. Murphy, who the hell is that? Corey Murphy, 39 years old. Okay, then. I can't believe Jágr didn't retire. I really can't. I mean, that's great news for us, of course. That's tremendous news for us. But definitely surprising. Now, depending on his overall, we may just keep him for the top 6 because I don't necessarily know if Buchnevich will be ready for a top 6 role. We'll find out. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do with Nash. I don't know what I'm going to do with Kreider. We might not trade them at the draft, but maybe we'll trade them later on in the offseason. We'll find out. We'll find out. Like I've said, this is supposed to be more on the side of realism, air quotes on realism there, as opposed to, say, rebuilding Hockeytown, right? I mean, at the very least, rebuilding Hockeytown did start off somewhat realistic. I don't want to go down the same path, is what I'm saying. But let's do this. Man, still, 41 wins, and we won the Cup. That's insane. That is insane. Let's do this, though. It is draft day. Now, you may see some potentials that you don't agree with, but I didn't want to overrate too many players, and I did want to try to get as accurate of a draft order as I could. For example, I've been able to make sure that the top 5 is accurate. I can't guarantee where they're going to be picked. I have done some throwaway drafts, or, some throwaway modes on Twitch, and Elias Pettersson has been taken number 1. Miro Heiskanen has been taken number 1. So there's really no guarantee of Patrick or Hischer going number 1. But we'll see. We shall see. And like I mentioned, do I want to try and trade up to get Elias Anderson? Here's the thing. Elias Anderson is low elite. I put Elias Anderson at low elite. I was thinking maybe medium top 6, which, again, you might agree with the potentials. You might disagree. It is what it is. Obviously, it's not like I'm going to restart the series now just to bump up someone's potential. So, part of me is very much content with just holding on to our pick, and we'd probably end up with maybe an Owen Tippett, maybe a Nick Hague, someone along those lines. So, I am trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. Now, when we look at who we have value-wise, right? Because, again, I don't want to go too crazy with the trades. We all know, you've seen Rebuilding Hockey Town. If you haven't, what's the matter with you? I can manipulate this game and just, get all the best players. There's not much fun in that. To a certain extent. It is kind of fun though when you still end up with a high franchise level goalie, however many years into it, after you just won another cup. But talking about how we might be able to trade up to get a really good pick, I mean, Kreider, we could use Kreider, but I wouldn't want to trade Kreider without getting back a guaranteed solid defenseman, so that's not going to happen. We could get rid of someone like a Ryan Gropp, but I don't know if we'd want to do that. This game kind of views medium top 6 and high top 9 on the same playing field. I just don't know if it makes sense to trade up. That is my point. By the way, man, Yager not retiring. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And then as far as our draft picks go, I mean, we didn't really do anything draft pick-wise. We got a couple of picks from the Leafs, of course, but that was about it. So when talking about trying to trade up, I just don't see where we'd accomplish that. Maybe using Rick Nash? Maybe. But I'm not totally against keeping Rick Nash on this team. As it is, we're all right cap space-wise for the moment. He had a decent postseason. No, he's not worth $7.8 million per season, of course. But I don't know. I don't know. And even in trading Rick Nash, I'm not sure where we would be able to send him to. He did have 25 goals last season, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So, damn. I said at the start of this, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. That is still very much the case. Very much the case. Now, as far as trading into the top 5, I don't see that happening. I mean, if you look at the value of a Detroit pick, which they don't even want to trade it, so that would never happen. Vancouver, do they want to trade that pick? They don't. We might not be able to trade into the top 5 in general. I don't plan on it. I will at least double check to see who we could get a deal done with. And from the moment, it's looking like 1st or 2nd overall or nothing. And St. Louis doesn't even want to trade the pick. So top 5 is out of the question. Top 5's out of the question. There is no way we could get that deal done. So when looking at top 10 players, is it worth trading a Rick Nash and our first pick to get a Liljegren? No, because he's Swedish and he's awful. Is it worth it to get a Ryan Poehling? I don't even know who the hell this is. James McCabe, a computer-generated player. Yeah, he might be interesting to get. I have Mary Ellis, who is always overhyped for some reason. And then Ellie Tolvanen. Not quite worth it. Not quite worth it. Trade Rick Nash back to Columbus. I might. Maybe that would cheer Nasher up after what happened to him today, which all the best to him, that's for sure. All the best to him. But let's see. I mean, is it worth... Okay, the point is it worth trading Rick Nash and our first to move up to, say, 11th, 12th, to try and get Elias Anderson to get that realistic pick? Is that worth it? I don't know, because on paper that would make us worse, of course, getting rid of Rick Nash at this point. And as far as other players go, I mean, defensively we're good. Like, we are looking at a forward prospect for sure. Goaltending prospects, we're fine. Defensive prospects, I mean, our top four is pretty much locked in. It's just a matter of, you know, is Barry Golazov or D'Angelo going to be the guy for the top four? So we do need a forward prospect. I know people want me to get Elias Anderson. So that is the question of how can I pull that off. And of course you have Cody Glass, Cal Foote, players like that. So I don't know. Let me see if people want to make trades after the 10th pick, which I'm sure they do. Tampa does want to trade that pick, so I could probably trade up to the 11th pick. Where does Columbus pick, by the way? Where are they? They're 8th. Okay, well, I could go off the board. They do want to trade that pick, too. So I could go off the board and, you know, make a deal with Columbus and take Elias Anderson a little bit earlier than I should. I could do that, and we could send Nash back to Columbus, and I'm sure Nash would just love playing for John Tortorella again. I'm sure that would be great. Do we trade Rick Nash back to Columbus? I'm not entirely against keeping him, though. That's the problem. And also, I know Elias Anderson's low elite, so I'm kind of meh about that. But, oh, Rick Nash, do we get rid of you? Do we get rid of you is the question. Damn. Damn. I don't know, man. You know what? I'll at least test it out. I am not guaranteeing that I'm gonna do it. I'm not guaranteeing that. But we'll see what happens. Now, I don't want this to be a blockbuster. I just want to get this deal done. And is there anybody that has 1 year left on their deal? No, because of course it's updated roster as well. Blaine Byron, who they signed, Reed Gardner, but they have a little bit too much value. So, who would I be willing to take back in this deal? Ramage or Gauntz? You know, probably Gauntz, because they're going to want to get rid of him. So, I'm just going to test this out, maybe, because I feel like with them wanting to trade the pick, that might actually be kind of close. That might actually be kind of close to a done deal. Which, yeah, it could happen. It could happen. And for the record, no, that is not John Scott. That is Justin Scott. I'm sorry. You lose. Good day, sir. So just to safety net this trade, which it's probably just wishful thinking on my part, but I am going to tack on a 4th and a 6th. Not exactly the most realistic trade, but let's see what happens. All right, value's too far off. How about just the 4th? Still off, straight up. I thought they were going to take that because there was a slight delay. So I could make this happen more than likely without having to give up our pick. It's just Rick Nash. Oh my God, Rick Nash for the 8th pick. I don't know, man. It makes us worse. It makes us worse in the short term. I know people are really concerned about that cap hit. I am too, because we do have to re-sign Zibanejad. Again, we started this mode before he signed that new deal. And thankfully we did, because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to afford signing Yager. But, alright, you know what? Let me tack on a 4th here. I guess it makes sense. We'd only have to deal with Rick Nash for 1 more year. Will this go through? No, but I feel like it's close. This might go through. How about Nash, a 4th and a 6th for the 8th overall pick, and Cameron Gauntz? Still not close enough. Okay, maybe I'm giving the game a little bit too much credit, or not enough credit, considering the they want to trade that pick. Let me again safety net this just a little bit. I don't like the AI one-upping me at all. So I'm trying to make sure it's as even as possible. So Nash in our third next year for the 8th overall pick, Cameron Gounce in the 6th. Still no. Let's take off the 6th. Still no. Really? Really? Okay. Well, I'll stop being this cheap. I'll stop being this cheap. I will give up our 2nd next year as opposed to this year. And now we'll safety net it again with a 4th and a 6th. Nash, next year's 2nd, the 8th overall pick, Gounce, a 4th and a 6th, and there you go. It's been done. Rick Nash is going back to Columbus. I should have tacked on another pick there, but the deal's done. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about it. It guarantees us Lias Andersson. Rick Nash and next year's 2nd for the 8th overall pick, Cameron Gounce, a 4th and a 6th. Rick, I'm sorry. The people don't like you. The people don't like you. I would have kept you. I think we could have made it work. But the people just didn't like you. And not to mention, we did keep our first pick. So we do still have the 30th pick. Now, again, I can't trade up at all, right? None of these teams in the top 5 want to trade their pick. I would have to spend so much to make it happen. It just wouldn't be worth it. So we'll keep the 8th pick. And then, I mean, really, if I wanted to, I could trade up from the 30th pick to get somebody else. But, I mean, I don't even know if that's worth it. I think I might as well just stay where I am. I mean, again, as far as who I'd be willing to give up to get a deal done, there really isn't anybody at the moment. I mean, I'm all right with all of these players for the most part. I could give up somebody like a Desharnais, I suppose. I mean, yeah, but he is on a really good contract, in fairness, and he didn't mind being on the 4th line. So, that's not bad. That's not bad. I mean, Gettinger, there's really nobody I'd want to trade, I guess. I mean, I could get rid of Sean Day, but I kind of want to keep him. We could get rid of Jimmy Vesey, in fairness. We could. Basically, I'm thinking, is it worth trading up like 5 spots? Which, you know what, we'll see. We'll see. Let's just make our pick for the moment. Let's see how this goes. And again, this first episode is going to be just the draft. But let's take a look at how things have gone so far. Nolan Patrick goes number 1 to Calgary. Miro Heiskanen goes number 2 to St. Louis. Peterson to Arizona. Nico Hischier goes 4th to Vancouver. The 5th pick, Cale Makar, goes to Detroit. 6th is Liljegren to Florida, and Eli Tolvanen is off to San Jose. And that brings us to the 8th pick. Now, if I wanted to be really cheap, right? If I wanted to be really cheap, all I would do is trade back with Tampa to the 11th pick, right? And I could pick up an extra 4th and a 6th. I could easily do that. Everybody knows I could do that. It'd be the smart move to get all the picks. I'm not going to do it. We're just going to make our pick. We are going to go off the board. Again, unless it changed, he is going to be low elite. But we will draft Lias Andersson, which I'm a bit nervous about taking a Swede again after a Nation United deal. But that's what the people want. That's what the people want, and that is what we will do. Let's take Lias Andersson with the 8th overall pick. Now, again, with Liljegren, just remember, if people are like, oh, he should be elite potential, don't underestimate high top 4 at all. At all. He could even be high top 6 and still turn into a 90. So, he's good. He's good where he is. Now, as far as potentially trading up, I do just want to go pick by pick here. Ryan Poehling to New Jersey. Mirielis to Colorado. McCabe, the generated player, to Tampa. Middlestott to Carolina. Kyler Yamamoto to Montreal. The Bruins take Cody Glass. Wouldn't that be nice in real life? Chicago with the 15th pick take Cal Foote. Nashville takes Connor Timmins. Not a bad pick. LA gets Michael Rasmussen. Dallas gets Juuso Valimaki. Teammates going back to back there. Now, who is still on the board is the question. Who is still on the board? There are a lot of names, of course. Urho Vakanainen, who went to the Bruins, of course. Nick Suzuki. Vesalainen, Gabe Velarde. Someone like Owen Tippett and Nick Hague are a little bit lower ranked, which is a good chance we could stay at 30 and still take Tippett or Haig, unless people want me to use different players, which I would totally understand. I might go with, say, a Yoki Harju, maybe a Formenton, perhaps. Crowley as well. Crawley? I have no idea how good he is. I have no idea how good he is, but... I mean, the easy pick, of course, would be Tippett or Haig. We could even go off the board. Again, we need forwards more than defensemen, but someone like Walford or Pierre-Oliver Joseph wouldn't be too bad. I think they're both high top 6. Although I don't know. Walford might even be medium 6, to be honest. I don't know if I made him that good. I'm 99% sure Montreal drafted him in real life. So the question is, do we trade up or do we just go with the 30th pick? I think I'm content. I think I'm content to just leave it up to chance and see who's there at 30. We made our big deal. We traded up. We got Elias Anderson. So you know what? I'm just going to leave it up to chance. Screw it. I'm going to leave it up to chance. Let's sim to our next pick. We'll see who's on the board. We'll see who's on the board. So Detroit ends up taking Scott Walford. He was medium top 6, by the way. Laudnia to Washington. Joseph to Edmonton. Nick Haig to Toronto. Owen Tippett to Anaheim. So we certainly could have ended up with one of those two. It's fine. We saw them enough in rebuilding Hockeytown. Yoki Harju to the Islanders. Velarde to Winnipeg. Vesalainen to... Wow, Colorado. 2 picks in the first round. Nick Suzuki to Ottawa. Martin, is it Nekas? I have no idea. Goes to Pittsburgh. And Vakanainen went to Buffalo. So, who is on the board at this point? Who is on the board? We have a couple more Swedes. Christian Gunnarsson and Jesper Boqvist. Then we have this defenseman here, Brandon Crawley, 20 years old, though. He's an overager. But that would mean he probably has a higher overall to start. And Alex Formenton is also on the board. We could trade down to the second round. Gallant, Mila Ouellet or Wallet, Soderlund, Stelio Mateos. I'm basically looking for familiar names that would be fun to draft, including Jack Studnicka. Jared Ottinger, of course, is in, and he would be, you know, a pretty decent pickup. You have Jonah Gadjevich there as well. Isaac Ratcliffe, Cale Fleury available in the second round. A couple of goalies, really. Antoine Moran's there. Shane Bowers, Robin Salo, Morgan Frost, who just signed with the Philadelphia Flyers in real life. Michael DiPietro. He who shall not be named. I'm going to have to take him. People are going to want me to take him. For sure. For sure. Eric Bronstrom's a bit further down. So there are definitely options, but as far as trading down goes, I don't know. I think it'd probably just be for the best to make this pick. So again, we have Christopher Gunnarsson, but we don't exactly need defensemen. So I think it comes down to Jesper Boqvist or Alex Formenton, I believe, at least. Boqvist or Formenton. You know, I don't recall using Formenton in a series yet. I might have, but you know what? I'm all right with it. I'm all right with it. I'm going to make the pick. We're going to go with Alex Formenton with the 30th overall pick. And I actually don't remember how good he is. Which, by the way, Vancouver did lose the lottery. They still ended up with Nico Hischier. But Vancouver did lose the lottery. They should have had the #1 pick. And Formenton's medium top 9, which isn't great. Although, granted, Washington did get Laudnia, who was about the same. And Vancouver immediately picks Gunnarsson. So what we're going to do for the rest of this draft is we will just take... We'll just take the next, we won't trade up anymore. We'll just draft where we are supposed to draft at this point. So let's sim to our next pick. By the way, I did think Formenton was supposed to be better set up than medium top 9. I could have sworn. But, like I said, it's just, it is what it is. So let's take a look at the second round, just of course, because it is. By the way, Cronwall traded to the Sharks. I'll have to take a look at that. Seidenberg also traded to the Sharks. We'll have to take a look at those trades before we wrap up the episode. But Brandon Crowley, medium top 6. So yeah, see, that's about the level of players that are available at this point. So Formenton wasn't a bad pick. Boqvist wasn't bad. Antoine Morand, Cale Fleury. I believe that's Morgan Geeky. Basically we're getting a bunch of players in the same bracket. Comtois goes to Philly. Studnicka to Carolina. Very tempted to trade up and get Jack Studnicka, by the way. Very, very tempted. But we let him go. Gadjevich to Montreal. Stelio Mateos back to Boston. I say back to Boston because we definitely acquired him in one of my prior series at one point. So I am not against the pick that we made at the time. Ottinger to Philly. Not too bad. Again, though, we do have Shesterkin in this game. I have added him in, so we didn't need Ottinger at all, really. So it's fine. Swig of water there. But Michael DiPietro goes to pick 4. Let's see who is available with the last pick of the second round. And I guarantee, I think Shane Bowers is going to be low top. So Ostap, Safin, him, Norris, who is much lower than he should be. Joshua Norris, who I think was taken by the Sharks in real life. I'm surprised he's this far down. But again, the game does weird freaking stuff to decide what the draft order is. I've said, earlier series in NHL 17, I had Liljegren as medium elite, and it would still show him as projected to be in the second round. So it's just the game being weird. But Brannstrom, Newman, Bowers, Norris. I mean, I don't know how good Shane Bowers is at this point. I have a feeling he's low top 6. I have a feeling Norris is the same. And then, of course, the player everyone would want me to get. But he was a big feature in rebuilding Hockeytown. I think maybe it'd be best to use different players. So it comes down to Bowers and Norris, I do believe. Both are 17. It's really kind of just a toss-up. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're both CHL players as well. Damn. Norris or Bowers? That is the question. Or we could go with Safin. I have 30 seconds to decide. Ostap Safin is 6'4". Jesus. And he... Oof. I think I have to go with Safin. Or Safin. I'm probably mispronouncing it. That I typically do. He is AHL eligible right out of the gate. So I'm going to go with him. It might be a mistake. We will find out. But simply because we could send him down to Hartford this season. And you know what? I'm all right with high bottom 6. Granted, Washington got a steal with that generated player. I'm all right with high bottom 6. That's not too bad. For and especially too for a two-way player, you don't necessarily need him to be, with a defensive player, you don't necessarily need them to be medium top 6. High bottom 6, he is eventually going to be a bottom 6 player. And that's perfect. He shouldn't be any better than a third line checking forward or whatever. And it'll be perfect. So I'm perfectly content with that pick. But I don't know. We'll see. Of course, like I said, this is our first year draft. I said I didn't want this episode to be a marathon either. Yet, here we are. It always happens. Let's take a look at the rest of the draft. Brannstrom was medium top 4. Damn. He might have actually been the pick. Not that we need defensemen. Or, we don't have an extreme need for defensemen. But he still might have been a really good pick. Bowers was low top 6, as was Lind. Yes, I said his name. Norris was also low top 6. So I'm all right with the pick. If we needed defensemen, Brannstrom was obviously the guy. But we didn't. Holy shit. Claim Costume was still on the board? See, that's what I'm talking about, man. The way this game values certain potentials, it doesn't make sense. So I don't know why Costume was this far down the board, but we could have gotten him. I'm still happy with our pick, but I didn't even notice him. To be fair and in fairness, I didn't even notice him. But I probably would have picked him if I did. So maybe it's a good thing that we didn't. Because I'm happy with the high bottom 6 player. Lozon. Wow, Robertson was really low too. Robert Thomas was a 3rd round pick instead of a 1st round pick. This game is weird. This game is weird with how it values certain potentials. It's just weird, man. Anderson Dolan was a 1st round guy. Great. The fact that it values medium top 6 defensemen over low top 6 forwards just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. But it is what it is. As we will continue on here, we'll just scroll through in case people want to know who their teams drafted or if they recognize certain players. But let's make our final pick of the 3rd round. Or the final pick of the 3rd round. I still can't believe we traded Rick Nash. I still can't believe we traded Rick Nash. Now, I do think that move is for the best, but still, it hurts a little bit, man. It hurts. Now, we have, who is this? Vladislav Lukin, 20 years old, so he's an overager. Is this Matthew Strome? Yes, it is. Wouldn't be a bad pick. Dylan Coghlan, also probably not a bad pick. Brendan DeJong. You have Wyatt Bear as well. Ralph Jarrett. So there's a couple of interesting picks here. Now, you are going to see a lot of high AHL top 2 potentials, I do believe. So, man, do we go... Let's see, Lukin's a sniper, which I'm not a big fan of. Granted, snipers can turn into more defensive players. So, I don't know. Maybe this would be the right time to take a defenseman. Coughlin's 19 years old, 6'2". DeJong is 6'5". Jesus. He's a monster. He's a monster. Lukin is WHL. We have Strome. I think Strome might be low top 9, which is why I'm a little bit cautious. A little bit cautious. I'm tempted to take one of those defensemen. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. If we take a defenseman, who do we take? DeJong. We're going with DeJong. There, fuck it. Strome, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But we're going with DeJong. And he's high AHL top 2. I will take it. 4th round. Let's go. Let's go. Let's try to speed this up a little bit so that this isn't, you know, another 50-minute draft episode, although it probably will be. Strome was low top 9. Lukin was high AHL top 6. Coghlan was half decent as well. We get the 7th pick here. I believe this was Toronto's pick. So we'll see what we can do with it. 97th overall. You have Wyatt Bear, Ralph Jarrett. We haven't used Ralph Jarrett in a series in a while. Now might be the time to get him back. Nikita, I can't pronounce your last name. I always try. I try to break it down, and it just doesn't work. Papugayev. I'm going with that. Papugayev. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue, does it? Damn it. Anyway, who else do we have available? At this point, it's pretty much just looking for familiar names that might be interesting to draft. Because everyone, it's just, you know, it's throwing, you know, darts at the wall. Damn it. Darts at the wall, darts at the board. You could throw darts at the wall. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. Brendan Semchuk, 18 years old. Dawson Holtz. Dylan Plouffe. We've definitely... What... Was he... He was Draft to Glory. He was Draft to Glory, I do believe. And who else do we have here? Elijah Roberts. 5'9", 160. Put on some weight, buddy. Glenn Berry, Grant Greer, or Greer, probably Greer. I don't know who to take here. I don't know who to take. I don't know. McHugh, Nick McHugh. I really like that name. Do I go with Ralph Jarrett? It's been so long since we've drafted Ralph Jarrett. I might take Nikita here. Damn it. People are telling me in chat how to pronounce it, and it's still just not going to go. Pugayev, we got a Popugayev. Just damn. Anyway, we could go with him. There are a couple of defensemen here. Like I said, at this point, I'm just kind of looking for names. Wait, did Elijah Roberts play for the Kitchener Rangers? I don't know if that's a... Nah, I don't think that's a Kitchener. I don't think that's a Kitchener jersey. Let's go with... Who do we go with? I'm looking at the two-way players. We have Max Martin. We have Loic Lavalier. We have Josh Patterson. Who else do we have? Actually, Josh Patterson might not be a bad pick. And I'm surprised he has no league interest. You know what? Just because he has no league interest, Josh Patterson. There you go. IHL top 6. Not bad. I have no idea what our next pick is. And at this point, it might not matter. Yeah, we're way down to the 30s here. At this point, all the big names are pretty much gone, so I am going to stop scrolling through. Let's see. 120th overall. Who's it going to be? We got Maxime Fortier. I don't know who this is. Lee Roberts. Computer generated, I do believe. Babenko Katarinakis. Hell of a name. Wow, Stuart Skinner is way the hell down here. Let's see. I might go with the computer-generated player. Yeah, I think it's going to come down to Roberts or Katarinakis. Igor Babenko. Right. So Roberts played in the Swiss League. Lee Roberts or Alexander Katarinakis. Or Katarinakis. I'm going to go with Lee Roberts. Simple name. It's a simple name. And we'll have to scroll back to see what he has turned into. And medium bottom 6 isn't bad. I'm alright with that at this point. Not too bad. Let's sim to our next pick. Every time I say I want this draft to go quickly, it never does. It never does. Owen Lane taken off the board. I probably... Oh, no. Deacon Poot. You were guaranteed to be a Ranger because people would have rioted if I didn't draft you. But thankfully, you're off the board, so I don't have to. Tommy Hedberg. We have quite a few defensemen. Joe Gattenby is on the board. Cameron Askew. Alan Lyjarjak. DeMaio as well. Hedberg. We've already taken too many Swedes. We've already taken too many Swedes. We have. I might go with Gattenby because he is an overager, isn't he? He is 20. He could go straight to Hartford, which might help them. You know what? I'm going to go with Joe Gattenby. Fuck it. A legend in the past. IHL top 2. I'm alright with that. And I just noticed that wasn't even our pick. And we could have gotten some medium bottom 6 players, but who cares? Who cares? Taking one Swede is too many Swedes. Fair point. Fair point. Oh, up next. Up next. Who the hell do we go with? We got Lyjarjak DeMaio. Or DeMio. Anthony DeMio. Cameron Askew. We have the Russian Igor Korolev. We have Lucas Jacek. Or Martin Weinhold. Martin Weinhold. That is the decision. That is the decision. By the way, somebody said, get the Slovak. I don't think he's off the board, unless it was Reichel or Krivicic, in which case, I am sorry. That could very well be the case. Anyway, God, do we just go with Hedberg? Do we just go with Hedberg? I think we might have to. Somebody pointed out Otto Makinen down here. Didn't mean to go to Nolan Keane, but that's fine. You also have Ryan McGregor, who was taken, of course, by the Leafs. Otto Makinen was pointed out, and to be fair, he didn't look like the worst player in the world. 19 years old, tough to say. Tough to say. I don't know if I want to go with Jacek. I mean, he is 19 years old. Cameron Askew was also available at 20. Might not be the worst player to take. Alan Lyjarjak. Damn. I just need to pick somebody here. 2-way forward, power forward. Nah. We're going to go with Cameron Askew. Fuck it. Overager. Whatever. It works. Don't know how good he is. We'll scroll all the way back through. This draft is taking forever. But that's okay. That's okay. IHL top 6. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. On to the 6th round. I can't wait to see what Cronwall was traded for, by the way. And Dennis Seidenberg, for that matter. The San Jose Sharks stocking up on defense. As far as who was taken, Lyjarjak, Jacek, yeah, they're all pretty much the same. Good news is Makinen will still be on the board. So, to appease you in the chat, we will do just that and take him with this next pick. I'm alright with that. Let's do it. Medium bottom 6, not bad for a 6th overall, or a 6th round pick, I should say. It'd be pretty terrible for a 6th overall pick. That is for sure. Jake Kriske off the board. Let's do this. Let's do this. 180th overall. My God. Now, I do know some names here. We have, I believe this is Trenton-Bork, or is it just Trent? It is Trenton. There we go. I know my shit. Simon Schutz, Sean Dursey, Sasha Chmelevski. But really, there's only one pick at this point, right? There's really only one choice. Let's take old Petrus Palmu here, shall we? Let's take just Petrus Palmu. Why not? Just before Vancouver could take him with the next pick, too. Why the hell not? High AHL top 6, not too shabby. I just wanted to take him away from Vancouver because I knew that they picked next. So there you go. There you go. God, at this point. So we have 2 picks left? 2 picks left. Sweet. Who are we taking next? 206th overall. And at this point, they all show up as undrafted. So here's the thing. I know some people are going to suggest that we take Smith, the gigantic, also known as Shrek in the Twitch chat from potential throwaways. But he is garbage. He's like low AHL top 2 or whatever. He's not going to turn into anything. So I don't think I'm going to do that. But we might. I don't know. Maybe I'll make him Mr. Irrelevant. At this point, I do just want to try and find a name that I recognize. Troy Timpano. Don't spear anybody with your stick, buddy, out of anger. Don't worry, I forgive you. Is there any... I wouldn't know who to draft here. There are so many goddamn players available. I might have to take Mr. Many Guns here, though. That would be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny. God, at this point, who cares? Like I said, I'm looking for a familiar name, though. That's the point. I'm not looking for anybody in particular. I'm just waiting for a name to kind of jump off the page here, so to speak. Simon Messier, not exactly. Yeah, but he does have a hell of a last name. I don't even think he's related. I don't care. We're taking Messier. He's not great. But you know what? It was worth it. The Rangers drafted a Messier. I'm 99% sure he's not related, but that's okay. That's okay. So, we need many guns in NYC. Fair play. Let's find him. Where is he? Shrek, we'll take you, buddy. We'll take you. Where are you? I know you're here. By the way, Uchuk was gigantic too, wasn't he? Yeah, 6'5", 210. A monster. Where is he? Smith, we'll take you. Where is he? Austin Strand, way the hell down here, by the way, too. Here he is. Andrew Smith, 6'7", 213 pounds, affectionately known as Shrek on the Twitch chat. And we're going to take him. He's not going to be good. He's never going to make the team, but the future captain of the Hartford Wolfpack, I assure you, low AHL top 2. He's Mr. Irrelevant, but damn it, he's a Ranger. Damn it, he's a Ranger. So, an interesting draft, I would say. Elias Anderson, Formenton, Safin. We get some decent players. We trade Rick Nash to get Elias Anderson. That frees up some cap space that we might very well need. We will take care of the re-sign phase in the next episode. However, I do want to double-check the trades that the computers might have made during the draft, of course, including Nicholas Kronwall, as we know. So let's take a look at the picks and trading. And Kronwall was traded straight up for a first-round pick next year. Dennis Seidenberg was traded for a third-round pick this year. I'd love to know who the Islanders ended up getting for him. Colorado acquired a first-round pick from Philly for a second-round pick in defenseman Anton Lindholm. They make more trades at the draft than they do on deadline day. Granted, I guess that can kind of happen. But still, bullshit. Bullshit. Florida acquires Alex Lentuniemi and Chaz Redicop for Radim Vrbata. So Vrbata off to L.A. And then you have our trades, Rick Nash back to Columbus for the 7th pick and Cameron Gallants. So there you go. An interesting draft, an interesting episode, I would say, and it has gone on long enough, like I said. In the next episode, we will go through the entire postseason, or at least the rest of it. So, for those of you hanging out with me live on Twitch, of course, don't go anyway. Don't go anyway, don't go anywhere. Don't go anyway, though, really. Stick around, we're not done quite yet. But for those of you watching on the YouTube side of things, I am out of here. I thank you very much for watching. You know what you have to do to support the channel and the video. And I will see you guys in the next episode of The Manhattan Project.